Hi, everybody. I'm John Stinson from the Easton Board of Education.
This is Chris Parkin from the Reading Board of Education.
And Todd Johnston from Region 9 Board of Education.
And I'm Rydell Harrison, Superintendent of ER9.
So, Dr. Harrison, we got some good news on Monday when Governor Lamont said that teachers and staff in our schools are going to be eligible for the vaccine starting on March 1st. What's been going on at central office since that announcement?
Well, we have been extremely busy in central office. This was great news for us. Of course, uncharted territory as far as making sure that we were working with some of our local partners to develop some clinics for our teachers and our staff. And remember, we're not just talking about our teachers and our paras and our certified staff. We're also talking about our bus drivers. We're talking about our cafeteria workers. We're talking about those folks who are our regular substitutes, and really trying to create the safest environment for all of our students, or all of our students, of course, but all of our staff and adults who work with our kids. And so we've been working closely with Weston Public Schools and also Westport. And those two districts, along with Easton, we all share a health director. And so we've been working with them in order to organize a series of pretty large scale clinics that will be held at Staples High School in their field house and run by the health department in conjunction with staff from all three of our districts. Our first one coming up is on Wednesday, March 3rd. And we've prioritized a number of our staff members for that first one. We're looking at having 125 doses for this initial one for just our ER9 folks. And we're prioritizing our teachers and our staff members who are primarily working with students who have special needs, where those students might not be masked, or teachers or staff would have to work in closer proximity to students. So we wanted to get those folks in first, and then move on to some of the larger vaccination clinics in the weeks to come. The goal that was shared by the governor on Monday was to have all education personnel, including child care center workers, vaccinated by the end of March. So that's a pretty aggressive timeline, and we're lucky to have some great folks to work with to do our part.
And in addition to the clinics that we're setting up, the staff also has the opportunity to directly schedule the vaccine?
Sure. So starting on Monday, people can go ahead and start creating their own appointments to get vaccinations done, either at local hospitals, at their doctor's office. There are some other health departments in other districts, but then also in places like CVS and Walgreens, that those will be available appointments for staff members as well. And they could go right into VAMS and register. On Monday, starting on Monday, it's also for people who are not educators, or working in an education field. If they're 55 and older, then they'll also be eligible. And the plan that we heard from the governor is that by the end of March, that will be opened up to individuals 45 and under. So it seems like we're making some good progress as a state.
All good news.
Yeah.
Yes, very good news.
It's very exciting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I think we're also seeing a lot more light in each of our days as we come into spring and temperatures warming up. And I think we're all very weary after the last 12 months. Maybe some of us are chomping at the bit to get out there and sort of be amongst our community again and all of that. I think we've seen a little bit of a spike in the numbers in the last week in particular. Can you talk a little bit about, how do we get in the right mindset to get through these last few, weeks and months until we're all really sort of vaccinated and it's safe to get back together?
Sure. So a couple of things that we've learned over the last couple of weeks, but really some big lessons that we've learned since the beginning of the year. So again, we have not seen significant spread of the virus within our schools. And what that tells us is that the mitigation strategies that we have in place are working. There's nothing unique about those mitigation strategies in that they work in school, they'll work outside of school too. And so we really encourage people to continue wearing their masks, even as they're, and limit social interaction outside of school hours, and just thinking about making smart choices in the community. We are still relatively low compared to where we've been over the last couple of months, but we are between both towns, we're at 17 new cases on a daily average 100,000 population, which again, we want to celebrate that. But we've also seen an uptick, particularly in Reading. And so over the last several days, so we really want to encourage people to make sure that they're remaining vigilant. Given that we have the light at the end of the tunnel, it's so important for us to remember that we can't let up now. Even once our staff start to become vaccinated, that doesn't, vaccination doesn't eliminate you from having to be quarantined with that first vaccination. So, you know, that means that if our numbers rise, staffing can continue to be an issue. And so that's something that we really just need to keep our finger on the pulse and make sure that we're continuing to communicate the importance of remaining vigilant in school, but also outside of school as well.
And how has the ongoing vaccination process, and then, you know, with some of the recent quarantining that we've had, how's the impact been on overall substitutes and need for substitutes across the districts? Sure.
So, you know, staffing has always been one of the big concerns from week to week. Just knowing that that an exposure could create widespread quarantines if we're not careful of staff. And then it becomes hard to run the building if we don't have the staff in place. Now you layer on top of that, of course, our staff will be making every effort to schedule vaccinations outside of work hours. But we also know that we can anticipate that there'll be some need for additional coverage. And so we are always excited to have community members step up and volunteer to substitute. Every time we've done a pitch like this, or you as board members have shared on social media or with just some of your contacts, hey, the districts are still looking for subs. We've seen a flood of new folks come in, and it's been really, really helpful. And so we don't want to let up. So we are absolutely open to receiving more people who would be interested in supporting our schools as substitutes. You could contact central office, contact Vicki Cram in HR. She is now wearing a partial hat of helping to schedule for vaccines through our clinics. But I'm sure this would be a happy distraction to have some additional substitutes to get signed up and registered so that we can plug you all in and really support what's happening in the classroom.
So great.
Great, thank you.
So there are a lot of great things happening, and there is a real sense of hope across the district. As I've been visiting classrooms and connecting with students, there's starting to be this sense of school feeling a little bit more familiar to people, because it looks more like it's looked in the past with having more of our students in. And as I said at the beginning of the year, our folks have worked hard to reopen schools, and now it continues to be up to all of us to keep them open. So I encourage everyone to play their part, and thanks for all of your support and everything that you do.
Thank you, Dr. Harrison.
All right, take care.
Thank you.